Imam C or Imam Jala.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين إهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين الله الذي جعل لكم الأرض قرارا والسماء بناء وصوركم فأحسنوا صوركم ورزقكم من طيبات ذلكم الله ربكم فتبارك الله رب العالمين هو الحي لا إله إلا هو فادعوه مخلصين له الدين الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله رب العالمين.
Thank you, Bishop.
Lord God of creation, to you alone belongs mercy, compassion, love, and unity and reconciliation belongs unto you. And so we, your children in this land, the nation, the Gambia, the Trrc, we ask, Lord, that the Holy Spirit will be with us throughout the proceedings. That, Lord, you will unite the hearts of all who live in this nation. That you will grant that we will be reconciled with one another, and that we will be able to accept the truth for what it is. This we ask through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you very much. Lead Council, are we ready to start the proceedings this morning?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, all. We are ready to hear our next witness. The witness is a protected witness. We would do everything to ensure that the identity we would do everything to ensure that the identity of the witness is not disclosed. We also urge members of the public to ensure that they do not do anything that would jeopardize the protection measures that have been put in place. Mr. Chairman, once the witness is sworn in, we would advise him again about some of the arrangements that have been made that would ensure or would help ensure that he testifies without his identity being disclosed in any way possible. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
With those guidance, you may proceed.
May I ask that the witness be sworn in and to remind the witness when taking the oath not to mention his name.
I swear that.
Can you repeat after him?
I swear that I'll speak the truth.
I swear that I'll speak the truth.
The whole truth.
The whole truth.
And nothing but the truth.
No, nothing but the truth.
And nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
Yeah. The witness's microphone seemed to have been off. So can we try that again and see whether it would work?
I swear that I'll speak the truth.
The witness is not hearing. Can you hear us now?
I can hear you.
The microphone is not on.
It's on.
I swear that I'll speak the truth.
I swear that I'll speak the truth.
The whole truth.
The whole truth.
And nothing but the 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 truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you.
Welcome, Mr. Witness. Please draw the microphone closer to you So, and try to speak into the microphone so that we hear what you say. Are we together?
Yes.
You have been briefed about how we proceed. There is a sheet of paper that is before you. It is entitled Protected Information Sheet. So whenever you refer to names of people, look at the list that you have in front of you and tell us the number of the person. For instance, if you want to talk about a person who you have encountered at some place, instead of mentioning the person's name, you would say, I met person 1, or I met person 3. Do you understand?
Well understood.
Thank you very much. I am now ready to lead you in your testimony. We have to do this slowly and reflect on everything that we are going to say. And that way we would have the opportunity to pay attention to those facts or matters that may reveal your identity. And we try not to expose those facts. You understand?
Well understood.
Thank you very much. Take a look at the sheet in front of you, the protected information sheet. It has in point 1 personal details. It lists a name, a date of birth, a place of birth, address, and ethnicity. Do you see that?
Yes, I saw it.
In the document that you have, can you confirm that the information contained therein is correct?
They are all correct.
Mr. Chairman, the document that has been circulated to the commissioners has some redactions. What has been redacted would be provided later on to the commissioners. With your permission, we proceed accordingly.
Thank you. Understood. You may proceed accordingly.
Thank you very much. Mr. Witness, in the same document, there is in point 3 information about your educational background. Can you take a look at it and tell us whether that information is correct?
They are all correct.
And Mr. Witness, please allow between 3 to 5 seconds after I speak, such that our speeches would not overlap. I will also do the same. Understood?
Well understood.
Thank you very much. You enlisted in the Gambia National Army. Can you tell us what life was like being a soldier at the time you enlisted in the army? Please do not tell us the year in which you enlisted.
Life in the army in those days was very much interesting in the fact that
Hello, could you hold on a second? May I ask whether everybody is able to understand what the witness is saying?
At least through the system here, I'm able to understand. I don't know if the other commissioners are. Yeah. You need to put the headset on. It comes a bit more clearly.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Yes, I think I can also hear you when I wear the headsets. All right. Can you continue with your answer? And remember, do not say anything that may expose your identity.
life in the army was very much interesting in the fact that it was a new institution in the Gambia. So people were very much interested to see themselves in camouflage and then to be the first people to serve the nation. Although there was not attractive when you come in terms of payment. The payment was very small for an average Gambian who has a wife, children, and some parents to take care of due to the nature of our family setup, whereby you are a breadwinner in the family.
Were there any problems in the army at all?
There is no institution in the Gambia during that time that has no problems.
But can you tell us what were the problems in the army?
The problems in the army were numerous due to the fact that it was a new institution. Everybody on board was learning, since from the command right down to the last soldier. Problems like accommodation, food, salary, uniforms, transportation, name them, many problems were coming up as far as the army was also growing. The demands were high, the expectations were high, and many other numerous problems that the command were not foreseeing.
With regards to food, can you tell us what were the problems?
To cater for a number of people is not easy. The food provided to us cannot be delicious in comparison to if you are catering a battalion. The food will be less delicious than a small family of 3 to 4 people. So anybody who is within that group, you don't expect the food to be as delicious as the food you have in your family.
We've been told that the food served was often referred to as water chew. Is that correct?
That is correct. Because the cooks we had in those days, they didn't have that international training. These are cooks drafted from the soldiers. They are not taught anywhere to cook, much more to cook for a battalion. So the food we have, sometimes the sauce will be very small. You can see the cook will just take a bucket full of water and then pour it inside the cooking pot so that you can wet the rice that you have. That's why they say water chew.
Were the soldiers satisfied with the food they were being served in the army?
You don't expect anybody to be satisfied with that kind of food that we eat. But we were able to go through it, and then we were alive.
Apart from the food, you mentioned that the salary was a problem, accommodation was a problem. Tell us about the accommodation.
The accommodation was not even enough for the soldiers. Some of us were living outside. Some were given beds in the camp. We call it bunk beds. One person will be down, the other person will be on top. The houses we were living in Fajara Barracks was a poultry house. This poultry house was transformed to be the teachers training school. When the teachers training school was called Gambia College was vacated. The place was dilapidated, no maintenance. What we did when soldiers came in for the first time, they have to clear all what in there. The roofs were not mended. The roofs were asbestos. The ceilings were falling on them. It was not a hygienic place to harbor soldiers who are serving at national level.
Thank you very much. How about transportation?
The transportation was very horrible. When the British were here, they were able to get some transport from their country. The government also acquired some transportation, but it was not sufficient for the soldiers as a whole.
Did this lead to any disgruntlement in the army?
No.
Please allow for a few seconds between my speech and yours, okay? During your time in the army, who were the Nigerians were responsible at some stage of the administration for the administration of the army? Is that right?
Correct.
Can you tell us what was the situation at that time?
Which time specifically? During the Nigerians were here or before they came in?
Perhaps let's start with before they came in and then move on to what happened after they arrived.
Before they came in, particularly, what is your target to know in that area?
What was the morale of the forces at the time?
The morale of the forces was very high. As I mentioned before, everybody wanted to see him as a soldier. People were interested to join the army.
Were there any problems regarding soldiers who served abroad and returned to Gambia?
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
There was a particular time when soldiers were deployed in Liberia that was called Force Contingent to the ECOMOG Peacekeeping Enforcement in Liberia. When they came back, there was some demonstration by some soldiers who felt they have to show up their concern so that the authorities will be put into the picture.
What were the concerns?
The concerns were numerous. During the demonstration, they claimed that they were not paid for their salaries in Liberia. Some people complained that the officers on top of their command were selling ammunition to the rebels. Some explosives were sold to the rebels. That has warranted to the dismissal of some of the soldiers who went with them in Liberia.
Do you know whether the concerns of the soldiers were addressed?
The concern of the soldiers were not addressed. It was based on promises. That's why when the second contingent also came from Liberia, they were also took up to themselves and then raised the same concerns as a demonstration to alert the government of the same problem that persisted during the first contingent in Liberia.
Can you explain in detail what happened in that second incident?
second incident was also the second contingent that went to Liberia. When they came back, they also demonstrated calling the government to address some concerns like lack of payment of their allowances, delay of payments to the soldiers serving in Liberia, and many other things that they feel necessary for the authorities to be put for the authorities to answer their concerns.
We are interested in learning further about what these other concerns were. If you can remember, can you tell us about them?
During some narration of the soldiers who were there, they were sometimes forced to sign names to a document that shows they have been borrowed some dollars to them, which is not true. So they were asking for those dollars to be given back to them. As I said, their allowance were delayed. They were not looked after during that Liberia peacekeeping enforcement. That is it.
Do you recall what was the result or what action government took to address the concerns of the soldiers at the time?
As far as I can remember, I learned that through their way going to Banjul to show their anger to the highest authority, they were somewhere intercepted by some high authorities in the government of the First Republic, only to be told vague promises: go back, we'll take care of your problems, we'll address your problems, but nothing came out, only that the top command was redeployed, not even dismissed, to an ambassadorial post in France sometimes, if I can fully remember.
Do you recall the name of the commander at the time?
He was Colonel Ndawanjai.
Do you recall who replaced him as commander?
It was Major Mabajo.
Did Mr. Mabajob continue as commander, or was he subsequently changed?
He was subsequently changed on the arrival of the Nigerian contingent in the Gambia.
Do you know why the Nigerians were brought in?
The Nigerians in the Gambia during the former government, it was through an invitation by the former government.
Do you know what was to be their responsibilities?
To be very honest, I don't know what is in their MOU between the Gambia and Nigeria, but through their participation in the army, one can conclude that they were here to give us basic training, to set up a proper administrative arrangement in the army that we lack, and to show us how to command and control. I think this is what we are here for.
With regards to addressing the structural problems in the army, what is your view as to the performance of the Nigerians?
To me, they were exceptionally good. They were exceptionally good. There are certain things that we learn from them immensely. That was lacking during the time of the BAT and under our immediate commanders in the Gambia.
What do you mean by during the time of the BAT? What does BAT mean?
BAT is called the British Army Training Team.
I think there's a problem with the volume. I, I can sometimes barely hear him. Could the technicians address that problem as we go along, please? You said BAT means British Army Training Team. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
I think there's a problem with the microphone of the witness. So can that be addressed before we proceed, please? Hello? Can you hear me? Hello? It's too high. Okay. Okay. Can you hear me now? It's a bit better. Mr. Witness, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. You may have to speak up a bit and into the microphone, all right?
Okay.
Okay, we shall proceed. We were talking about the advent of the Nigerians, when the Nigerians arrived, and you indicated that they did very well with the structure of the army. Can you explain the other things that the Nigerians did?
The Nigerians, when they were here, they tried to create a lot of space within the army. Number one, they tried to police the army, young officers, senior officers, commissioned officers, and soldiers. They tried to give some lectures to the officers until it was called an officers' day every month. Officers were called in a particular hall and they are lectured in all fields of administration to the soldiers who were not opportune to go for overseas training and to augment the knowledge of the soldiers who had the chance to go outside for further studies.
How would you rate the performance of the Nigerians in that type of work they were doing?
I rated them high.
What else what other significant achievement did they make while they were with the Gambia National Army?
When you come to communication aspect, is one of the most achievement. They show us the international standard of military networks communication. That was their biggest achievement in the Gambia. They created an army headquarters that wasn't available. We call it now GAF, Gambia Armed Forces Headquarters. They created what is called a joint army headquarters, whereby all the units of the army have their representatives in that particular office answerable to the Gambia Armed Forces Headquarters. This is where their most achievements lies.
Thank you very much for that answer. Were Gambian soldiers in general happy with the presence of the Nigerians in the GNA?
This question, I cannot read the minds of everybody, because everybody is entitled to your own opinions. But if you ask me personally, I will say I was happy.
But from your observation, do you think were the soldiers within your level were happy?
The soldiers, average soldiers standard at my level, they were happy.
How about those soldiers that were above your level? Do you think they were happy with the situation?
Soldiers that were above us at that material time, they were not happy.
Do you know why they were not happy?
I can try to explain why they were not happy, as long as everybody is entitled to your own opinion. But to my own opinion, what I can tell you is the top were the commanders. Now they saw that their positions had been threatened. That's why they were not happy. Because when the Nigerians came, they took the command of the top hierarchy. And then the Nigerians were totally in control.
Did that lead to any, excuse me, I'll change the question. Do you recall any training that took place in Kudang in May of 1994?
Yes.
And here, be careful with the information that you give. Can you tell us what happened during that training?
During the training, soldiers were lodged in Kudang camp. And during that gathering in Kudang camp, some soldiers, they were divided according to their ranks. Junior officers, senior officers, senior NCOs, junior NCOs, and the troops. Everybody, you know where you belong to. When that happened, some particular officers of the medium class started to make some suggestions, exchange ideas of their anticipation.
What do you mean by of their anticipation?
What happened is, in any endeavor, there are positives and negatives, advantage and disadvantages. When these Nigerians came, it looks like they found the Gambia found the Gambian officers sleeping. The presence of the Nigerians has wakened them up. waking them up in the sense they are taught, even at some level, how even to run a government. Because Nigeria is so much an advanced army whereby they have been running the state for a long time. So this message has been transmitted into them before that exercise in Kuda. So this particular group deem it necessary to go into that adventure and see whether it will be possible. So this was the, uh, the topic they were discussing.
It is okay if we spell out what that adventure is. And correct me if I get it right. At that stage, they started talking about planning a coup d'etat. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Could you repeat your answer, please?
Yes.
Still, you can tell us who participated in that meeting. Take a look at the list of names. No, hold a second. You can tell us actually the names of those who participated and leave out the name you have on point 1 on your list. Tell us all the names, leaving out the name you have in point 1 of your list. The names are not contained in the document you've been provided. So, but tell us all the names, leaving out the name of the person in point 1 of the list.
Which paragraph?
It's not in the document. Tell us everybody who participated in that meeting, leaving out one name.
Okay. During the point of discussion, names who were participating in that discussions were the most vocal person there was Edward Singate and his brother Peter Singate. People like Yankuba Ture, people like Yaya Jame, people like Sadibu Hydra, people like Sana Sabali, people like I cannot remember both of them, but these were the group that was in that particular place discussing the matter.
Who was the leader of the group? Do you remember?
This group, in this kind of discussion, is just like a normal routine whereby after every exercise, soldiers will come together, try to brew attire, talk some ideas. In that particular group, you don't choose who is the leader. The only thing that you can identify is who was actually very vocal during the discussion.
Do you recall who was the most senior officer present at the meeting?
The most senior officer present at the meeting was, if I can recall well, it was Basiru Baro.
So you are now telling us that Mr. Basiru Baro was present there. Do you recall what was his rank?
I think he was a senior lieutenant.
Did you hear anything else? Let me rephrase the question. At that meeting, did you get to learn about the decision that this group of people made during that meeting?
Yes, I was opportune to remember them giving assignment to each other because most of them were platoon commanders. That anybody, if you go back to the barracks, you try to galvanize or seek support or try to convince the soldiers under you whom you think they will listen to you of the adventure they are about to take.
And according to you, the adventure was coup d'etat, correct?
Yes.
After that meeting, do you know whether this group of soldiers, this group of officers, had any subsequent meetings?
There were meetings to their particular soldiers.
I want you to tell us how you know about those meetings. Please don't mention any names. If you must mention names, look at number 4 of the list.
Number 1 of paragraph 4 particularly was in talking terms with me.
You mean person 1 in paragraph 4, correct?
Yes.
And can you explain further?
As I mentioned before, this is an adventure whereby you don't have to talk to anybody that you don't have confidence in him. This paragraph, person number 1, paragraph 4, had much confidence in me, and then he solicited support from me to attack or to target a particular group of people, try to seek whether they are in for this adventure or not.
Did you do what he advised you to do?
I did.
Can you tell us what happened on 21 July 1994? Also remember to use the protected information sheet that is in front of you.
21st July 1994. Something happened at the airport. I was not there though, but I was informed that some particular officers or soldiers were disarmed.
After you had that conversation, that event, did you have the opportunity to talk to anybody about this? Refer to the information sheet, please.
Passing number 1 of paragraph 4 was, I had that opportunity to be briefed more what had happened at the airport.
As a result of that briefing, what did you do? Please remember to refer to the sheet.
After that party number 1, paragraph 4 it briefed me what had happened. I left where I was lodging and I met passing number, paragraph number 4, passing number 2, passing number 3, passing number 4.
Don't tell us where you met them, but tell us what you discussed.
Our discussion went further that passing number 1 of paragraph 4 briefed me of what had happened at the airport. What I did was to go and meet these people at that particular time so that we can continue with their adventure. If not, as far as they were asked to go to their houses and wait until the following day, Friday, if they are called by the NSS, we don't know who can keep his mouth shut. If not, if anybody of them talk, we were all going to be the victims. So we took to ourselves and said, let's go ahead. And then this is where we took it from. and then pursue the matter of that coup that failed on the 21st July 1994.
At this stage, tell us whether the following persons I am going to name were aware of what was happening. Yaya Jame, was he aware of what was happening?
He wasn't aware what was happening.
Could you answer again?
He was not aware what was happening.
How about Edward Singate? Was he aware of what was happening?
None of them was informed what was happening.
By none of them, you mean to say that Baro, Sabali, Haidara, and Ture, none of them were informed about what was happening?
None was informed.
So it is your suggestion, therefore, that only person number 2, person number 3, person number 4, and yourself were present at that meeting?
Correct.
Can you tell us the decisions that you made at that meeting, please?
The decisions we came to a conclusion was to send person number 2 of paragraph 4 to go to the barracks and then convince one junior officer to carry out our plans so that the following day, or 22nd July 1994.
What was the person in the barracks to do for you?
He was tasked, number 1, to make sure that he breaks the armory and then try to smuggle as much arms and ammunition into the orchard behind the barracks. Number 2, to arrest any officer who falls or comes inside the army and then detain him in our cells. Number 3 is to convince as much soldiers as possible and junior NCOs to carry on the plan that has failed on the 21st of July 1994.
The plan that has failed on what date?
On the 21st July 1994.
What was to happen on 21st July 1994?
What was to happen on July 1994 was to seize the president of the First Republic on his arrival during the inspection of the Guard of Honor, to seize him to a particular place which I don't know where they discussed him to be.
Did that happen at all?
It did not happen.
Were you informed why it did not happen? This time around, mention any names you want.
It did not happen because the soldiers who were there, people like Yaya Jammeh, the military police, Sana Sabali, if I can recall, were disarmed and asked to go and stay in their barracks. What happened was, during the First Republic, officers were not to be arrested, but you can ask them to go and then stay in their barracks. That was called on the house arrest. That's why they were not apprehended at the airport, but rather for them to go and then stay in their houses until their decision is to be decided.
So on this day, on this night of the 21st, you had your meeting with person number 2, person number 3, and person number 4, and you agreed what to do. And if I recall correctly, you said person number 2 was to talk to somebody in the barracks, to smuggle arms, to break the armory, take arms and ammunition, and smuggle them to the orchard. Is that a good, accurate recollection of what you said?
Yes.
When the following day, can you tell us what happened?
The following day, the person we passed through, person number 2, did exactly what we asked him to do. The armory was broken, the weapons were smuggled. He was able to convince as much young officers and soldiers as possible. He was able to arrest a handful of officers who were on duties and who came out first in the barracks and then put them on the house arrest. This is what he did exactly.
Can you tell us did you go to the barracks at all?
I was at the barracks.
When did you go to the barracks?
I can fully remember going to the barracks between 8 to 9 o'clock.
Can you tell us what you found when you arrived at the barracks?
When I entered the barracks, there was total chaos. Soldiers were seizing their carrying arms. This time, it's not regardless which arm you carry, because in the army, everybody is appointed to a weapon. But when the armory was broken, this kind of protocols regimentation was not taken care of. You can carry as much ammunition as possible. People carry weapons. You can see some people carrying 3 magazines slow taped together. People carry pistols. Some of them. So it was total chaos. Total chaos. Total chaos.
Did you see any officers at the barracks at this time?
I didn't see any officer in the barracks. What I was told that immediately I enter, I met person number 2 who told me that Sirif Gomez was in the cells, Obimbaye was also there in the cells.
What was Sirif Gomez at this time? And what was his rank?
Sirif Gomez was the adjutant of the 1st Battalion.
What was his rank?
The rank was, I think, 2nd Lieutenant.
How about Obimbai?
Obimbaye was also, if I could remember, a 2nd Lieutenant.
Can you tell us at this time who was in charge of what was happening?
In this material time, when everything broke loose, nobody will claim that he is totally in control of the soldiers, because in the army, regimentation is so that everybody will belong to a particular group. That is, from the lowest is section, a platoon, a company, a battalion. But when these kind of things happen, all those things are bundled together. So you cannot separate and say, I am in command of this particular group, because it was not well set up.
Can you tell us what happened after you arrived at the barracks?
When I arrived, I also went and then took my weapon and my ammunition that I can carry. Soldiers were jubilating. Some people ran to the highway, because the gate of the army in those days was very near to the highway. They stood on the highway and then seized any vehicle. May I continue?
Please continue.
They stood on the highway under no command from anybody. They seized vehicles coming from Brikama or from Banjulundi. Especially their target were government vehicles. But later on, that protocol was not there. So they seized any vehicle that they can lay their hands on.
Did you seize a vehicle?
I met somebody who has seized a vehicle already, and I ordered him for him to drive me, because those times I was not even a competent driver.
And what happened after that?
After that, the move started. Soldiers were trooping towards Banjul.
Can you tell us how was that organized?
It was not organized at all. We were racing. Some people can drive, some cannot drive. You can even wonder, some people even don't know whether this vehicle take petrol or diesel. They just go to the petrol station, open the boot, and then the container is full. Some people only to find out that this vehicle takes diesel. Instead they put petrol. So they pack it there and then go to another one. People were racing towards Banjul as if, no, not as if that was our target to get to Banjul.
Can you tell us what happened along the way?
Along the way you can see civilians standing on the side of the road, although it was raining. But people were clapping as if they welcome what had happened or what is going to happen. Some people, I think, they don't know. Some people are just excited to see soldiers in that kind of a pandemonium. You can see them clapping people. If some people can go as far as buying biscuits, buying bread, and then giving to the soldiers who are marching towards Banjul. Some people go as far as fetching water, giving to the soldiers to drink. This is the nature of that particular.
Could you repeat the last sentence you uttered? Could you repeat your last sentence?
I said
I did not receive anything in my
Hello?
earpiece.
Hello?
Could you try again?
Hello?
I didn't hear anything. Mr. Chairman, it's 15 minutes to the break period. Perhaps maybe we can take the break period now and allow the technicians to solve the problem, and we come back in 30 minutes, if that is fine by you.
A reasonable suggestion, and I think we can take the break now, and if there are questions later on, we would ask them during the second session.
Please, may I ask that the witness be allowed for us to retreat into the witness room before we start moving.
Was precisely wanted you to guide us on the exit of the witness from the box.
You may leave the cubicle and go back into the witness room. Thank you.
Thank you, Council, for that guidance. The meeting is suspended for about 30 minutes. We come back at 12 noon.